Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today, I'm listing my top 10 teams or NFL Power Rankings heading into the 2021 NFL season, after the NFL Draft, and after NFL Free Agency. But before we get into that topic, question for those of you viewing, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think is the most underrated Super Bowl sleeper heading into the 2021 season? Comment down below, and I'll reveal my answer at the end. But getting straight into the list, one team that would 100% be on this list, but I'm excluding, is the Green Bay Packers. I'm just don't know what's happening with Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to make up with them? Is he going to be traded? Is he going to retire and play Jeopardy? I'm not sure. If Aaron Rodgers makes up with the Packers, this team 100% makes this list. But that just being a weird outlier, I'm excluding them from this list. And one honorable mention before getting into it is going to be the Miami Dolphins. I love what they did this offseason, getting Will Fuller in the draft, getting Jalen Waddle, Javon Holland, Jalen Phillips. I like what they did this offseason, but Tua Tagovailoa is too big of a question mark to make this list right now. I love that roster top to bottom, but the guy that leads them has a big question mark on his back. But getting into the list, this is going to be a big surprise at my number 10, I think, to a lot of people. But this is a team I'm extremely bullish on, and it's going to the Indianapolis Colts. I know Carson Wentz last year is a total head case. It just didn't work out well. Turnover machine. He took a bunch of sacks. But you have to remember the time Carson Wentz played best was in 2017 when they went to the Super Bowl, and he almost had an MVP season. And who was leading him? His offensive coordinator at the time was Frank Reich. Who's the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts? Frank Reich. I think if there's one guy that's going to revamp Carson Wentz's career, it's going to be Frank Reich, and I like the team around him. Carson Wentz is going from an Eagles team that didn't have a lot going for him. Now he's got a top O-line, a good receiving core with a reliable T.Y. Hilton and a Michael Pittman Jr. who's taken a step forward, a reliable Jack Doyle, and a defense that's pretty dangerous as well. Xavier Rhodes leading the secondary, Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner leading the front seven. I like this Colts team a lot. They're already a playoff team. They just need a quarterback to lead them, and I think Carson Wentz is going to have a bounce-back year, and I think this team could even jump higher on the list, but just because I know that's such a bold take, I'm going to leave them at number 10. Number 9 is going to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. This is another team that could really climb the list, but they just have so many new things going for them, and we haven't seen a single snap between the top rookies, Rashawn Slater, Asante Samuel Jr., Josh Palmer. We don't know how Brandon Staley is as a head coach. I like this team a lot on paper, and I think Justin Herbert might even make an MVP conversation this year. But with the Chargers just battling so many injuries and having so many new players and needing time to gel, I do have this team holding back just a little bit. But number 9 suits them well because I think that's a big jump from last year. But I can't give them a Super Bowl title just yet, or Super Bowl contender title just yet, until I actually see them play. Number 8 is going to go to the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, he is still the most dangerous player on the field in the open field, and they got him a little bit of help in the draft with the wide receivers. He got him Sammy Watkins at the receivers, and now you're looking at a decent receiving core to help out Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews. Offensive line, now that you have Alejandro Villanueva to help out Kevin Zeitler and Ronnie Stanley. Decent offensive line, amazing run game, not even with just Lamar, but in that backfield as well with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Looking at the defense, I love the secondary full of Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphreys, Jimmy Smith. Those are 3 really good corners led by a really good coach in John Harbaugh. Pass rush, I'm a little concerned after losing Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon, but still having 6'8" monster Calais Campbell. This Ravens team could still hold its own at the pass rush to an extent. Like I said, I have my concerns at the front defensive line, why I'm holding them back, and I have my concerns to see how Lamar will throw the football. I think his game is going to be upgraded with a new receiving core, but we'll just have to see it. I think number 8 suits him well because of how dangerous Lamar is, but what they lost in the pass rush. Number 7, Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks, I think we're forgetting how good they are. I mean, they won the division last year, and yes, they got bounced in the first round, but Russell Wilson, now he's got a new offensive line. He's got a new guard. He has a very athletic tight end in Gerald Everett. He might be one of the most athletic and versatile tight ends, and I think he's a kind of an underrated tight end. DK Metcalf is only going to get better. He's only becoming more of a monster. Tyler Lockett got signed to a longer deal. They brought Carlos Dunlap to keep the pass rush up, to help out Bobby Wagner, to keep Jamal Adams happy. I like this Seahawks team a lot, and I think Russell Wilson is going to be on a revenge tour. I think number 7 suits them well because of Russell Wilson's revenge tour. Getting the help of the O-line, getting the help in the receiving core, and bringing back a little bit of pass rush help in Carlos Dunlap. I think the Seahawks team is something we're still kind of underrating, and we all know Russell Wilson's a top 5 quarterback still. I feel like this Seahawks team has just flew under the radar this entire NFL offseason. I understand that's due to the part that they haven't done much. They only had 3 draft picks. They didn't make a whole lot of moves in free agency, But I think they got a decent team with Chris Carson in the backfield, Russell Wilson leading them. And there's even been, rumors that they might be open to bringing in Richard Sherman. Not that that's going to take the Seahawks to a Super Bowl, but it's a little nice cherry on the top for this team's defense. Number 6, San Francisco 49ers. This is another one that could really make the top 5. I just got to see everyone bounce back from injury. This Niners team might have one of the best rosters in football, but just so many people come back from injury. Raheem Mostert, Jimmy G, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, all those guys who are starting guys on this team come back from injury. I have to see them all be 100%. But like I said, when you got Jimmy G with an even better offensive line that they created some depth or drafted some depth through the NFL draft to help out this O-line, you re-signed Trent Williams, and in the receiving core, you got a Brandon Ayuk, a Deebo Samuel. That's 2 really speedy, versatile receivers and arguably the best tight end in the NFL. George Kittle, Raheem Mostert. You drafted 2 running backs, one being Trey Sermon. I'm a big fan of him. And then looking at the defense, like I said, Nick Bosa coming back, having Arik Armstead, Fred Warner. Got a very strong front 7. We know how good this Niners team was last time they're healthy. They went to a Super Bowl again. All these teams, I think, could be moving in and out and going up and down. But the Niners, that's one of them that is a possible serious Super Bowl team if everyone bounces back to 100%. Number 5, LA Rams with Matthew Stafford. This is one that I think number 5 fits them just perfect because Matthew Stafford was a huge addition to this team, obviously. Going from Jared Goff, a top 25, top 20 quarterback, to Matt Stafford, a top 10 quarterback. That is a enormous jump. But just losing a couple, I don't want to say role players, but a couple positional players that we're just kind of forgetting about. Losing John Johnson, a starting safety. Losing Troy Hill, a starting slot corner. Losing your starting center, Austin Blythe. Losing a tight end, Gerald Everett. Those are just a couple small pieces that I think we're forgetting about, and we're just too worried about the stars. Matt Stafford, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, they'll do the rest. Yep, it takes a whole team. It doesn't just take a team of 4 to 8 guys that are super talented. 22 guys play that football game, and we need some depth on this Rams team. So I do think Matt Stafford brings enough balance to keep them as a super elite team, but I can't give them top 3 just yet because of those pieces they lost, and I want to see how Matt Stafford will do in an offense that he's never even had before. Now he's got a very deep receiving core with Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Deshaun Jackson. He has a backfield he's never had before. Cam Akers, offensive line. They lost the center, but like I said, it's still better than what he had in Detroit. He's never had this innovative of a head coach in Sean McVay. And then looking at the defense, the star power of Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Williams. It's still a great defense, but still losing those couple pieces, couple role players. I do think that if number 5 fits them just perfect from cracking like a top 3. Buffalo Bills, number 4 is going to go to Josh Allen, a possible MVP candidate. Again, he was already in MVP conversation this last year. Again, this team, they got a little bit better, that's for sure. They addressed the pass rush a couple times in the draft. First pick, Gregory Rousseau to help out Jerry Hughes and Ed Oliver and Tremaine Edmonds. And then in the secondary, you got a pretty good duo of Micah Hyde and Tre'Davious White. Looking at offense, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are a top 5 quarterback wide receiver duo. And then you added more to it with Cole Beasley already being there. You added Emmanuel Sanders as well. Run game's debatable, but I do think between Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, and the new addition of Matt Breida, one guy will step forward, especially with the different offensive line possibly. I do think this Bills team, just coming off an AFC championship, they're going to be on a revenge tour looking to get their own and make a Super Bowl run. I like this team a lot. I like Josh Allen a lot. And I think number 4 suits them well. Number 3, Cleveland Browns. I think they might have a top 3 roster in the NFL. I mean, head to toe, they really don't have a hole on this team. Baker Mayfield, he's finally hitting a top 12, top 10 quarterback conversation. Best backfield in the NFL between Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Top 3 offensive line in the NFL. Great receiving core. OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Rashard Higgins, Austin Hooper, David Njoku. Looking at the defense up front, you got Myles Garrett, Takarius McKinley, Malik Jackson, Jadeveon Clowney. Front 7 in the linebacker core, you got Anthony Walker. You drafted, I don't know how to say his name, Jermaine Owusu-Koramoah. I want to say JOK. Very good steal in the second round. And the secondary was kind of lonely last year. Now you got some guys coming back from injuries. Greedy Williams, Grant Delpit. That's a big addition itself, but you didn't stop there. In free agency, you got Troy Hill, John Johnson in the draft. You got another steal in the first round, and Greg Newsome. Crazy Browns roster all around, head to toe, and they easily deserve number 3 on this list, and I think they could go even higher. Just a lot of it determines how Baker goes. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Not much to say. Made it to the Super Bowl this year. They didn't lose anything. They only got better. Chiefs team up front. He has a Patrick Mahomes has a completely rebuilt offensive line with Orlando Brown Jr., Joe Thuney, Kyle Long, Austin Blythe. This is a great line that the Chiefs have to work with and have to protect Patrick Mahomes. You got the star power receiving core, Tyreek Hill, fastest guy in the NFL. Travis Kelce, number 1 tight end, arguably him, George Kittle, or Darren Waller, make the argument whoever you want. Cole Hardman, emerging guy. Defense, Frank Clark, Chris Jones up front, and Tyrann Mathieu leading the secondary. It's a great Chiefs team. You guys know how dominant the Chiefs are. Number 2 fits them well. And number 1, I think it's obvious, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super Bowl champions. They returned with the same exact roster. Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Giovanni Bernard, Ronald Jones, all in the backfield. Front offensive line, you got Donovan Smith and Tristan Wirfs on the outside. You got Ryan Jensen in center. Receiving core might be the best in the NFL between Mike Evans, between Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, Tyron Johnson, Antonio Brown, or Tyler Johnson, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard. And looking at the defense up front, you got William Golston, Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, JPP, Devin White, Levante David. That might be the most athletic linebacker duo in the NFL. And then in the secondary, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Carlton Davis, Jordan Whitehead, and Antoine Winfield Jr. There's not much to say. They're the repeating champions, or they're going to be possibly the repeating champions. They're the 2020 reigning champions, and they brought every single person back, and they had some luxury picks in the NFL draft. I think until someone takes the crown from the Bucs, they easily deserve the crown at number 1. But as always, guys, I want to hear your opinion. Do you agree with the list? Do you disagree with the list? Just one more time to go through it. Number 10, Colts. Number 9, Chargers. Number 8, Ravens. Number 7, Seahawks. Number 6, 49ers. Number 5, Rams. 4, Bills. 3, Browns. 2, Chiefs. 1, Bucs. As always, guys, I want to hear your opinions. And the most underrated team to me is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. I truly believe in Carson Wentz and Frank Wright, and I think they're going to bounce back. But who knows? We'll have to see as the season goes on. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. 2-Minute Warning.